Good morning, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second day of the 9th TCU International E-Learning Conference 2018, MOOCs and Beyond. And thank you so much for showing your interest to participate in yesterday's session. And also in the afternoon, the concurrent sessions were fully occupied. So this is a very good phenomenon for the participants and also the conference. Normally we, on the second day, as you can see, half of the participants probably were busy, but I hope that many more will come. I have a few announcements to make for today. When before 3 p.m., could you please fill up the evaluation form of the IEC, which is online. So you have the QR code behind your name tag. And yesterday we received only a few comments. So could you please fill up more by QR code? And also the lucky draw will be conducted for those who get lucks. So please join us. And it's very important for the organizer to hear your opinion. And today we have 4 keynote speakers in the morning session, and also in the afternoon, the concurrent sessions still going on. I would like to start by introducing the biodata of our keynote speaker. She's the second female keynote speaker for the conference. She received her Bachelor of Engineering in Electronic and Information System Engineering from the University of Huddersfield, United Kingdom. Her Master of Science and PhD in Electronics Engineering, Communication Engineering from the University of Birmingham. She is currently the Deputy Director, Innovation and Teaching and Learning at the Center of Academic Development, University Putra, Malaysia, where e-learning, innovative teaching, open education resource, integration of technology in TNL, as well as massive open online course or MOOCs at UPM is under her portfolio. She has recently been appointed by the Ministry of Higher Education starting January 2017 as the chairman of the Malaysia E-Learning Council for Public Universities and also the chairman for Working Committee for Malaysia's MOOC. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Ayani Ismail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you? Right, a very long introduction. That was a biography asked by the Secretariat earlier in the year. There are changes to it, but I will let you know. My dear Associate Professor Dr. Tapani Tamitar, the Director of TCU, Assistant Professor Dr. Anuchai, my few years friend already, fellow speakers, colleagues from Malaysia also here. My name is Saliani Ismail, and my topic today will be MOOC 4.0, the era of digital immortals. People keep asking me, why do you choose this topic? When the Secretariat actually asked me, what topic do you want to give? I've been involved in steering Malaysia MOOCs for the past 4 years. I've been talking about MOOCs every day for the past 4 years, I've been dreaming about MOOCs every night for the past 4 years. And I even conduct lots and lots of trainings talking about MOOCs, technicalities, and so on. Even in my sleep, I believe I speak about MOOCs as well. So when the Secretariat asked what you want to speak this time, I was thinking like, okay, I want to go a bit philosophical. I want to go a bit beyond what I used to do, which is talking about how to design MOOCs. So here it goes, the topic about digital immortality. A long introduction because I wasn't expecting the biography to be read, but just to give you an idea where I come from. I have experience in engineering because my background is engineering and also education. I have no trainings in education. Perhaps our profession is the only profession that we are not trained. We are trained in our field, but we are not trained to teach, right? So it comes wherever you go, whatever your background, your field of expertise is, education is your bread and butter. It has to be your bread and butter. So I have with me the current chair of Malaysia E-Learning Council for Public Universities, Dr. Wan Zuhainis, because I was the former chair. She will deliver her talk this afternoon. Yeah. She is also steering Malaysia MOOC now. I'm just a person with experience, but not the post anymore. So I can share on Malaysia MOOCs, but my point today is not to share on how we do Malaysia MOOCs, but it's more on philosophical concepts of ICT and digital education. I come from a university called University Putra Malaysia, UPM. Has anybody been to UPM before? Yeah, I know you. UPM, at a glance, we have over 140 degree programs with huge lands. We have 3,000 hectares of main campus and branch campus in the Borneo, and more than 1,700 academic staffs and 26,000 students coming from various countries, different countries. And currently we have 16 faculties, and UPM is one of the 5 research universities in Malaysia. Rankings. Top 1% rank in the universities worldwide. We are not talking about rankings every day, but whatever we do contribute to rankings. So I am proud to be part of UPM. It is an agricultural at heart university. Sorry. Niche areas you can read from there, but of course, coming from agriculture university, agriculture is our main niche area. So what I'm going to do next, I just spent like 6-7 minutes on introduction. I don't mind. Do you mind? What I want to bring to you today, because you have learned a lot during the past yesterday, about technicals, how to do MOOCs, and so on. So what I want you to do today is to sit back, relax, and be frightened. No, I'm just joking. Just sit back and relax. Okay? Don't think too much. My MOOCs isn't finished. Don't think about how my students going to react to my MOOCs. So stop doing that, okay? For now. You can continue later. So I'm going to say this. I am happy to be here in the land of peace and prosperity. There is another way of saying that, which is that. I'm going to do a personal world record today by doing something that I haven't done before. Can you guess? Yeah. I'm going to speak Thai for the first time in my life, here in Bangkok. So here it goes. Michael, don't laugh. ฉันยินดีที่ใช้ที่นี้ในดินแดนแห่งสันติภาพและความมั่งคั่ง I hope it's right. I hope it's correct because you can blame Google Translate for that. There is another easier way to say it. Ready? Or shall we do that again? Okay, this is an easier way to say it. It doesn't come out. The audio sound? The sound, the audio sound.
ฉันยินดีที่จะอยู่ที่นี่ในดินแดนแห่งสันติภาพและความมั่งคั่ง
Can we play it again?
ฉันยินดีที่จะอยู่ที่นี่ในดินแดนแห่งสันติภาพและความมั่งคั่ง
So which version do you like better? My version or computer version? My version, even though I make mistakes. That's human. We can give a perfect solution, but the human touch sometimes, even though we do errors, we appreciate it. It works well. Because this is a way of, because I just learned this last night, because I couldn't sleep, so I just learned this last night. I spent my sleep speaking Thai. This is heutagogy. Have you heard about heutagogy? This is self-determined learning. You have heard about pedagogy a lot, I believed. But heutagogy, Heutagogy, heutagogy is self-determined learning. There are things that triggers in our life, things triggers in our life to learn. And we are so determined to learn it, whatever it takes. That is heutagogy. And that concept that MOOCs actually leverage on. Self-determined learners. This is one example. I keep saying this for 40 times. But when it comes to the day itself, I still make mistakes. And people love it. Okay, what I'm going to talk about. These are the things that I'm going to talk about. Global digital reports, digital footprints, fourth industrial revolution, the buzzwords for the past 2 years, the evolution of MOOC design delivery, at least in Malaysia, and what's beyond MOOC 4.0. The holy grail of genetic engineering, because I'm in engineering, I would love to talk about engineering. People talk about immortality all over the world for years and years. We may think that this is impossible to achieve. Immortality. In some cultures, immortality means you live something great. You leave something good. And people talk about it for a long time after you pass away. In some religion, we do believe this. Muslims believe that if you do anything good in your life, Muslims will have awards, will receive awards after we die, like rivers flowing. It's going to be non-stop. Awards. Even though the body may die, some part of you will exist. When I first started dwelling on MOOCs, I was looking for the motivation. Perhaps people do MOOCs because people ask you to do MOOCs. People ask you to change. But what exactly motivates innovation in teaching and learning? Global digital reports shows that the internet users worldwide in 2018 is about 4 billion up, 7% year on year, every year, number of internet users. The number of social media users worldwide in 2018 is about 3 billion, up 13% every year. And the number of mobile phone users in 2018 is about 5 billion. So I'm going to show you this data. This is real data. It shows the digital around the world, the penetration of internet users, active social media users, using unique mobile numbers, and active mobile social users are increasing year by year. And Facebook is still the fastest growing social network. The fastest. Even though I'm not active on Facebook, I used to have Facebook. Michael, you did search for me, right? I'm not active anymore because of some reasons, because I think I'm millennials, I should use Instagram. Facebook are for all people. I'm not millennials, I'm X generation. But still, I have at least one social media. Brand actions in social that prompt consumers to purchase. Number 1, being responsive. Brand actions. Why did I show you this? Because, like Mr. Dawal from Class Central has said to me this morning, academicians lacks of marketing strategy and business point of view. I do agree with you. I do agree. This is one of the things that I think we need to improve. In our MOOCs, MOOCs is a brand. We have a product. Why? Our product is knowledge and skills. So how are we going to give it to the students without marketing it? I mean, it will look the same. People have knowledge all over, but why students want to learn from us? We have to do a bit of marketing. So branding, being responsive. Are you responsive enough in your MOOCs delivery? Because that's what people want. People want that you be responsive. Promotions, providing educational content, number 3. So people likes to learn. Sharing interesting visuals. Visuals in MOOCs. Have you checked your MOOCs? Do you have good visuals to attract people? Being funny. Being funny. Yesterday, the Taiwanese presented on YouTube channels sometimes. I mean, there's nothing wrong being fun. Sometimes professors are too serious. Professors are too serious sometimes. But when it comes to learning, it's okay to be fun. It's okay. Offering exclusive content, providing behind the scenes content, and trash talking. So this is human. People do trash talking a lot, to attract attention. So maybe don't do trash talking. Do trash talking wisely. Okay? Digital audience penetration versus engagement of leading social networks. You can see Facebook way up. Average monthly minutes per visitor and reach among age 18 and 34. If you are not between 18 and 34 and you don't have Facebook, that is okay. But if you are 18 and 34, you don't have Facebook, you might want to check again. So it shows average monthly minutes per visitor. Facebook way high. Average interactions per post per 1,000 followers in social networks. It's not Facebook, it's Instagram. Although everybody has Facebook, but the highest interactions happen in Instagram. You have everything in your MOOCs. People got to your MOOCs, 200,000 students per MOOC. But how many interactions do happen in your MOOC? You have 100 students in your MOOCs, but you have the highest interactions in your MOOCs. So how do you measure that? Numbers. Having many students does not mean interaction happens. Having less students does not mean interactions do not happen. Why did I show you the slides of, 5 slides on statistics on social media? Why? Because I want to show you that people not just living in this world, they have another world that they are living in. They have another virtual world. That is digital world. All these statistics shows that people live online too. So when people live online, it becomes more and more complicated. They fall in love online. You see, the most popular hashtag, the last point on Instagram are #love. #me_cute. #me_cute. #cute. And #follow. So #love, people fall in love online nowadays. And people show affections online. That means people live. When they live, they need tools to live. The similar things that we are doing now, instead of reading on Facebook, last time we used to read newspapers. But now, newspapers are not that popular anymore. People go online. So food and drink and technology are the most popular categories for men. Is it true? Michael? Food and drink and technology. Food and drink? Oh my God. I thought World Cup would be football would be the most popular one. YouTube, I just list all, we just need to see that people do video recordings and viewings. Say, I want to take one statistics. Males are primarily watching soccer or strategy games. Females are primarily watching beauty videos. So, could be true. This is true. This is real data. Digital footprints. All the stuff that you have seen on the list for the past, in the previous slides, shows that all the stuff that you leave behind in digital form. Every time you use internet, comments on social media, Skype, app use, email records, is part of your online history and it stays there. And this might remain online forever. You may delete it. You may delete what you have posted, but remember the servers still keep it if they want to. So it's already there. The more you use the internet, the bigger your footprint is. So here's the concept of digital immortality. Since you leave behind footprints, your presence online, digital presence, this is what we call the concept of digital immortality. Dr. Ian Pearson mentioned that we will not only link by a computer system in 2050, how many years more? We will be living inside an Android shell when we do. Human consciousness will be uploaded to online servers and we will able to use any Android body, not Android Samsung, to inhabit the real world. This is Dr. Ian Pearson, a futurist and engineers. Artificial intelligence engineers. When I did my first degree in electronics engineering 20 years ago, I learned about artificial intelligence 20 years ago doing we did programming, program using a software called Prolog at that time. I still remember the first activity that my lecturer gave to us at that time is to decide, let the program decide who wants to date who. Dating system. So we have a trait of a male, we have a trait of female, the preferences, and we did a program to choose. It's a dating system. And from then on, I keep dating the wrong persons. But I did marry the right one. Right. So the things that you do 20 years ago, you still remember. Now we are talking about artificial intelligence again. It's even more advanced. Can you play the video, please? I want to show you this.
对不起，我们尽力了。不过有个好消息也告诉你们，现在医学技术很发达，我们使用最新的高科技，将你老公大脑里的意识数字化，完整的转移出来。也就是说，你老公其实还活着。
你说啥？老公。
今后你们一定要好好的活下去啊！
谢谢你，医生，谢谢。老公，你现在感觉怎么样呀？
挺好的，感觉很轻松，人也比过去精神多了。
那你想吃点什么？我给你买。
其实只要充电就行了。
AGM X2 手机双重防水，万无一失，打开防水塞依然防水。骁龙8核心处理器，6G RAM，128G 超大空间，双摄像头，0.2秒指纹识别，强悍性能令你高枕无忧。AGM。
It didn't stop there.
老公，你看这里的景色多美呀！
快，让我拍几张照片。
好。
哇，好漂亮！
哟，这不是静静吗？
老婆，他是谁呀？
是。
听说你嫁人了，怎么也不告诉我一声啊？你老公呢？哦，这就是你老公啊！
哎，你们想干嘛？
我去你！都还原了！
别担心，我不但防水，我还防摔呢。
哦，是吗？那你会游泳吗？
哎，你别把我扔下去啊！
哼，就让你老公永远都待在江底的泥沙里吧。
别担心，我会游泳。
AGM X2 手机防水防摔还能防尘，独有水上漂技术，安装原厂漂浮块，落水即漂，永远不沉，令你高枕无忧。AGM。
Hey, this is the only movie clip, a very sad one, but you just keep laughing from the beginning till the end. Kudos to the Chinese advertisements. I mean, Thais has been, I love to see Thais, Thai advertisement videos or short videos because it sends messages, very deep messages. I've seen that, and this is the marketing power. This is what it means by digital immortality. It can be, knowledge can be transferred, but it shows that feelings can be transferred too. We don't know whether it's true or not, but people are thinking along that line. You may not want to live forever, but you may want to leave a legacy. So we'll see how it goes, but this is where the future is going. People want to have mind uploading. What's on your mind? Where is this question pop up? Every time. Did you even read? What's on your mind? Where? Have you seen this question before? You haven't? What's on your mind? Where do you see this? If you have 600 people in the room, then they haven't seen this question anywhere? Facebook! Yes! Every time you want to post something, Facebook will ask you, what's on your mind? You post without reading it? That is not something on your mind, perhaps. But Facebook asks this every time. What's on your mind? And this is the trend in 2050 that scientists, engineers, genetic engineering has looked into mind uploading, this digital ascension. This is mind-blowing. What if science made it possible to be truly immortal, and what if there were a way for you to live? Maybe we'll just dump our memories, thoughts, feelings, if it can be done, everything else that makes us who we are into a computer and live in cyberspace like Logong. So, this is what we are doing actually in social media. We are uploading our thoughts, we are uploading our videos, we upload everything without reading what's on your mind. It comes naturally to us to share. This is scary, is it? Scary. Okay. The fourth industrial revolution, if you don't know about I think Thai 4.0 address a lot of this industrial revolution. Like Malaysia, we have education 4.0. And fourth industrial revolution mainly based on second information revolution, where you have intelligence, artificial intelligence coming in, clever and more clever computers, big data, Internet of Things. Internet of Things is one of my research field now. And you have cloud servers everywhere. So you combine all these, you have the second information revolution. This is fourth industrial revolution. And there are 4 pillars that I choose as the main concerns. 5 minutes, I don't have time. But I go very fast. Personalized, predictive, preventive, and participatory. These are the 4 things that you might want to see when you create your MOOCs. Artificial intelligence is everywhere. It's everywhere. the thing that we want is natural intelligence too, but artificial intelligence is taking place, but don't worry, it won't override natural intelligence of human. Attention span. Millennials, we pay attention for 30 seconds and then our brain moves on to something else. This is true. 30 seconds. You just look at me, look at my show, and then you just forgot me. Personalized learning. This is very much related to MOOCs. Flexible learning pathways, digital literacy, seamless learning, self-regulated learning, learning-oriented assessment, learning-oriented assessment. When you do assessments in MOOC, you don't want to do assessments all the time for every topic. You just choose which one you want to assess appropriately. Lifelong and life-wide learning. This is the personalized learning. But with being massive means so many people, so many personality. So how are you going to do that? To address personalization. This is what we do for Putra MOOC, University Putra Malaysia's MOOC. We were the first one, the first public university to launch our MOOC. This is a rhizomatic model of learning where you have even one single video, it will grow. It's organic. The knowledge will grow. Even though you think that the lecture videos are not good, perhaps it will grow to other forms of knowledge. This is 1.0, the first version when we first started 4 years ago. And we leverage blended learning using MOOCs. Evolution of MOOC design and delivery in Malaysia. MOOC 1.0, we just convert our contents into digital forms. And MOOC 2.0, we have started to develop our own contents, original contents, and repurposing open educational resources. This is embedded in our national e-learning policy that we have to create our original contents. You can use OER, but we contribute OER as well. And MOOC 3.0, this is mainly, this is where we are, most of MOOC developers are now. Original e-content plus OER plus user-generated contents plus task-based learning. You give more active learning into it. You inject actions, you inject tasks. People do work online. And user-generated contents, that means you are not the only one who generate contents, but your students too. MOOC 4.0, with all that, plus challenge-based learning, students love challenges, gamification, inject fun to it, crowdsourced contents, that means you ask other people outside of your students' boundaries to produce contents, to contribute contents, learning analytics, and now we have started with augmented or virtual reality in our MOOCs. MOOC 4.0 has not trickled down to all lecturers yet, but there are people, the drivers, are already doing augmented reality. For example, you want to teach about natural resources like turtles, so you might want to have augmented reality in your MOOCs that shows turtles swimming creatively. You can just put videos, but students love augmented or virtual reality. This is what we call immersive learning. At the end of the day, when you say immersive, it's beyond active. Active you do, but immersive, you forgot about time. You are so immersed into it that you just love it. Having experience in MOOCs taught me about learning buffet. You see the increase in terms of contents. Learning buffet means you can give anything, but the students will choose. But be careful with it. When you give too many things, the student will think that you will do everything. So I just flashed this because my time is up. But what I have said for the past 45 minutes, perhaps, 40 minutes, that these are all the things that might go beyond. You can create digital immortality by doing MOOCs, and you are perhaps knowledge immortals. Live streaming is coming back. People love live streaming. So you can see the statistics there. And last but not least, this is what I want to convey. The goal is not to live forever. The goal is to create something that will. Your MOOCs, people learn, applied what they have learned for life, and then pass it on to others. And that's what I believe immortality is all about. So thank you very much. Hope to see you again.
Thank you, Dr. Yani, for your inspiring presentation. Do you have any questions to ask the speaker? Okay, just one question, please. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for your nice presentation. And I'm very glad that I have two things with you. The first one is that you are the engineering. And then today you're talking about artificial intelligence, right? Yeah. And my question yesterday was about artificial intelligence. And I asked the professor from the Stanford University. And my opinion is that the MOOC is about creating multimedia. And beyond, I asked him yesterday that what this artificial intelligence can apply to MOOC. And today, you give me the answer. You're talking about the VR, talking about the AR, talking immersive learning. I think in the near future, we will have an AI teacher. And that's what I want to see. And I'd like to ask you for your more opinion on this AI teacher in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. In my opinion, now, as of now, I would rather have artificial intelligence as a support for my teaching in the sense that I get learning analytics data. Instead of teaching, I can teach. I have natural intelligence, I have actual intelligence, AI too. But I see artificial intelligence as a tool to give you many kinds of data that humans are normally restricted to do. If I look at somebody, I look at Michael, for example, here. Michael has been my experiment subject. I look at Michael, I can interpret Michael, the things that I know about Michael. But artificial intelligence can do more than that. Artificial intelligence can connect things, connect knowledge, connect information that normally humans cannot do. But the way to use the data, the learning analytics, it's up to humans, it's up to the lecturers, it's up to the instructors. You may use it well or you may interpret it wrong. All the things that artificial intelligence gives is data. And trying to predict is part of pillars in fourth industrial revolution, that prediction is one of things. You may predict, but it may or may not happen. For having artificial intelligence robots to teach you, it can be done. Computers are artificial intelligence and you're teaching us. But the thing that we are talking about now is values and wisdom. Professor Zoraini, wisdom. Where is the wisdom? Can you program wisdom? So that's my take on artificial intelligence. I love artificial intelligence. It's part of my job, but I'm not expecting artificial intelligence to do our job. Thank you.
Allow me to proceed and introduce the second keynote speaker. We also had him last year at the conference. He got his Master's of Computer Science from Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta, United States of America, and now he's a Chief Executive Officer building the entire stack from scratch and scaled it to millions of users. Class Central is the most popular search engine for massive open online courses. Of course, he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Class Central. And also from April 2017 to current, he's the columnist of the Search, writing thought pieces and analysis about the MOOCs space. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, may I proudly present Mr. Dawal Shah.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Dhawal. I would like to thank the TCU team for inviting me again. Last year I spoke about the evolution of MOOCs, and this year I'll speak about the business side of MOOCs. But before I go ahead, let me tell you a bit about Class Central. I started Class Central almost 7 years ago. It was a side project that I built for myself to keep track of a few Stanford courses that were popping up. Later, these courses were started being called MOOCs, or Massive Open Online Courses. Our goal at Class Central is to help learners find the best courses on any topic wherever they exist. We try to aggregate as many MOOCs from as many universities and course providers from all over the world. And over time, we have built an ecosystem around these courses. For example, we have something called the follow button for education. And with the follow button, you can follow a subject, like you can follow humanities, computer science, social science, or any of the subjects that we have. Or you can follow universities, and you can follow course providers, and we will send you recommendations and updates based on your follows. This is how a course page on Class Central looks like. We collect a number of different pieces of information, and we try to standardize it across different providers. We collect the course description, the syllabus, the effort required, the duration of the course, and other such details, and try to standardize it across different course providers. Our users also can write reviews, so we also crowdsource reviews from our learners. And based on the data that we collect from all these users, we publish a number of rankings. We publish rankings on a monthly, annual, and all-time basis. This is a good way to let users know of interesting courses, as well as be good at marketing, like bringing new audiences into the MOOC world. I consider Class Central to be in the business of educating people about online education. And another way we do that is by writing about MOOCs. Our blog, MOOC Report, is the only MOOC industry-focused news and analysis publication. We get almost every month, 80,000 people read our blog. And this is how Class Central looks like in numbers. Our users have written over 40,000 reviews. We have published more than 700 articles. A lot of my talk will actually be based on the articles that we have published on Class Central. We are almost approaching 1 million users, and the follow button that I talked about before has almost 15 million follows. So that's about Class Central, and this is how the agenda looks for the rest of the talk. I'll start by telling you about the state of MOOCs. Some of the slides you might have seen in yesterday's keynote. Then I'll talk about what changes MOOC providers have done, the 4 steps of monetization, 4 steps they have done to achieve monetization. Then we'll go through a specific example from Coursera, which is the largest MOOC provider in the world. And after that, I'll summarize the MOOC monetization model into 6 different pricing tiers. Then we'll quickly look through a few examples of certain universities and companies and how much they are making. So where are MOOCs in 2018? These numbers are based on analysis I did at the end of last year, so they're a bit outdated. But in 2017, 23 million learners signed up for at least one MOOC. This is similar to the number of learners that signed up in 2016. So what it means is like the user growth has become flat, but the courses are being launched aggressively as ever. At the end of 2017, there's 9,400 courses. It's around 10. It's over 10,000 now. And more than 800 universities have created these courses. Around 40% of these courses are in the topic of business and technology. These are the ones that are the most monetizable in MOOCs, so that's why you will see more and more courses going in that direction. And here are the top 5 MOOC providers around the world. Coursera, edX, Udacity are US-based MOOC providers. Coursera and Udacity were started by Stanford professors, while edX is backed by MIT and Harvard. It's a non-profit. All 3 of them were started back in 2011 or early 2012. FutureLearn is a UK-based provider, and it's a wholly owned subsidiary of Open University in UK. And Shwetang is China's largest MOOC provider. It started a couple of years later than most of these MOOC providers, but it's catching up very quickly, and it's backed by Tsinghua University. So when MOOCs started, they had no clue about monetization. They just launched and they got a lot of users early on. They created more courses, but monetization was a challenge and they didn't know. So over time, based on my observation, these are the 4 steps that MOOC providers have taken to monetize the courses. They don't have to be done in order. The first step is reducing the free tier. Originally in MOOCs, everything was free. The course videos, assignments, and even the certificate. But to monetize MOOCs, they had to reduce the free tier. The policy might vary from course providers to provider, but all the major MOOC providers have taken back what was free in MOOCs. When MOOCs started, they were session-based. What that meant was they had a start date, end date, and they're offered once or twice a year based on university's schedule or the professor's schedule. But that meant it was difficult to monetize the course online if it's only available 3 to 4 months a year. So MOOC providers have tweaked their model so that courses nowadays, once they're launched, they're generally run in a self-paced mode. So they're generally available throughout the year, and it increases monetization because there's more courses that users can sign up for. The next thing they did is focus on professional learners. The narrative originally around MOOCs was disruption of university, but now we know that we heard in yesterday's keynote too that the average age of a MOOC learner is around 29. So what we now know is it's not the university students, it's the people who are well beyond their university years are taking these courses for professional and career growth. And the 4th step is basically creating more credentials that these learners can use, learn new skills, as well as use it to demonstrate that they have the skills to future employers or even to their current employers to get a promotion, to or just get a better appraisal, or even completely switch jobs. So in hindsight, these 4 steps might look pretty obvious, but the path to getting here wasn't easy. It required a lot of experimentation and a lot of missteps. So now we'll go through how Coursera, the world's largest MOOC provider, got to their monetization. So as I mentioned, Coursera they were started back in 2012. They're now the world's largest MOOC provider. They have the most courses, the most students, and the most university partners. But this was the homepage of Coursera in 2012, and their original mission was to provide free online education to everyone, everywhere. And the first few monetization models they tried out actually tried to stay true to this mission. So one of the first things they did was they attempted at being headhunting, which basically meant employers can hire or potentially hire the top performers in Coursera courses. They even had companies like Facebook and Twitter signed up for it. But actually, this didn't work out, and they shut it down quietly. Then in January 2013, a year after they launched something called Verified Certificate. At this point, Coursera was still offering a free statement of accomplishment. But Verified Certificate was a tier above this, where if you pay a fee, they verified your identity. So you had to upload your driver's license, and every time you submit an assignment or homework, they took a photo of you. And this seemed to be working. Within 9 months of launching, they made a total revenue of $1 million and had sold 25,000 verified certificates. So Coursera went further down this path and launched a micro-credential called Specialization. Specialization basically is a sequence of courses, and learners have to get a certificate for each of the course, and then you earn a specialization certificate. And this also seemed to be working. Now, it's within a few months, they're making $1 million a month. A year ago, they made their first $1 million, and they're already making $1 million a month. So this was a sign that certificates and micro-credentials were path forward. So what does Coursera do? They stop offering free certificates. So this was one of the first signs as a student that maybe free education for everyone, everywhere is not possible, or it might not be in the future. So Coursera, to push learners towards their verified certificate, they removed the free certificate tier. At the same time, this is the second step I said to increase availability. Coursera started rebuilding their technology to support self-paced courses. Originally it was only limited to a few courses, and one of the things they did was the new technology platform didn't support free certificates. And this is some data that the Johns Hopkins University shared, the professors shared about their data science specialization. At that time, it was one of the most popular specialization in Coursera. And it was a 9-course specialization. It received 1.76 million signups, and almost 72,000 certificates were awarded. It says where signature track here because that's what Coursera called it back then. They called the verified certificates as signature track. They don't use this branding anymore. And the revenue they made in just like 3 quarters of 2014 was $1.75 million. Another interesting number you can see here is how the completion rate goes up when somebody buys a certificate. It goes up from 10% to 85%. And and these numbers obviously seems like specializations and packaging courses into specialization is working. And now, so what Coursera does is like they want more of these specializations. Until this point, it was up to the universities to launch these courses and specializations. So Coursera decided to take control of this process. Now what they did was they made a list of specializations which they thought would monetize well. And then they asked their member universities to bid on it. The winning universities would get a $100,000 grant to create these specializations. And the grant money would be recovered from this specialization revenues. In mid-2015, Coursera announced the IMBA. It was their first MOOC-based online degree. They partnered with University of Illinois. The cost of this online degree is around $22,000, which is half of the campus degree. And the degree was built around 6 Coursera specializations. You need to get 6 Coursera specializations, and there's other work to earn this degree. So this was a very aggressive move that Coursera did in October 2015, where they pushed the assignments behind a paywall. Now, if you wanted to access graded assignments, you also had to buy a certificate. This wasn't well received amongst learners, and there were a lot of online comments, but it didn't matter. The other change they made to their on-demand self-paced model is instead of going completely self-paced, Coursera tweaked the scheduling so that now courses are automatically started every 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And if you don't finish it within that period, you're automatically moved to a next session. So it's not session-based, and it's also not self-paced, but somewhere in the middle. And it seems to be something that is working for the students as well as them. One of the experiments they tried in early 2016 was a mentor-guided courses, where if you pay a bit of extra, you get a mentor assigned to you. They shut down the project. They didn't continue with the pilot. Then in June of 2016, Coursera finally closed their old platform, and they asked all their professors to move to the new on-demand platform that they had been building for almost a couple of years now. Unfortunately, a lot of instructors didn't do that, and we've lost hundreds of courses were lost forever. Another experiment that Coursera tried was paid-only courses. These courses were actually free before, and they're free now, but for the pilot, they made them completely paid. They didn't continue with that, but paid courses do exist in Coursera. Sometimes they call them professional certificate, and some of the Google courses created by Google on Coursera are actually paid. Coursera, in August of 2016, Coursera announced Coursera for Business. This was them going after the lucrative corporate training market. Coursera for Business is just the same Coursera content and certificate that employers can bulk pay for their employees, and they get some additional features like progress tracking and analytics on top of that. Then in October 2016, Coursera switched to a subscription model. Before that, you had to pay for each course separately, or you paid a single price for each course separately. And for the specialization also, you paid a single price. But then Coursera switched it so that now, instead of paying a fixed price, you pay a monthly price. And once you pay, if you pay, and generally the price was between $39 to $79 a month. And if you pay that price, you get access to all Coursera assignments and grading for that particular specialization. So if you want to sign up for 2 specialization, you need to sign up separately. They further clamped down on financial aid. Before financial, they were very liberal with their financial aid applications. I tried it once and I was almost immediately approved. But after this change, now it takes 15 days to approve a financial aid application, and you also have to write a 300-word essay to actually get, before you can apply for financial aid. This was one of my favorite experiments that Coursera tried. Now what they've done, instead of having a separate subscription for each specialization, there was just one price. You pay $49 a month, and you get access to entire Coursera's catalogs. You get access to the entire graded assignments and certificates for the entire catalog. This meant like the cost of Coursera went down drastically, because before you had to sign up for each subscription separately and pay $39 or $49 or $59. Now for $49, just one price, you get access to the entire catalog. They ran this test for a few months, but we don't know why they decided not to move forward with it. And some of the experiments that I just only highlight a few ones, but Coursera constantly innovated or constantly tried to experiment with different monetization model. They constantly innovated or experimented with different monetization models. And they came to some answers, and this was the final model they chose, which is basically subscription. You subscribe for each specialization separately and pay a monthly price. And if you stop paying, then you lose access to the paid assignments after you cancel your subscription. So let's look at how different business units inside Coursera are doing. The first business unit is the B2C, or business to consumer. It is what you see when you go to Coursera.org. In October or in 2016, Coursera had 100,000 monthly paid learners, and they were signing up 20,000 new paid learners every month. I did some back of the envelope calculation, and the total revenue from this was around $50 to $60 million in 2016. In 2017, they announced that the number of paid learners has increased by 70%. The second business unit inside Coursera is online degrees. And at this year's Coursera conference, they revealed that they had already made $10 million in tuition revenues from online degrees. They have 1,600 students as of January 2018. A majority of them belong to the IMBA. That was the first online degree launched by Coursera with partnership with Illinois. And the final business unit is Coursera for Business. And it's going really fast. In March, they had more than 900 customers signed up. But I would say it's probably more than 1,000 by now. And this is what I meant by the title, a product at every price. Now MOOC providers like Coursera have a product that goes from free to millions of dollars. So they have free to audit courses, more than 2,700 free to audit courses. They have specializations which cost more than around $50 a month on average. There are more than 250 specializations. Their online degrees cost around anywhere between 15 to 30K, and they have 10 such. They have announced 10 online degrees. And the corporate training, it costs around $400 users per year. So depending on the size of the company and the number of employees, this can easily go into tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, a multi-year contract can go into millions. So now Coursera is targeting different products at different prices. And I summarize this pricing tiers into 6 different tiers of monetization. At the heart of this model, it's still the university's courses, but different services and credentials are tiered on top of it. Each tier of pricing adds some value on the tier below, and the smallest tier, the free tier, the lowest tier, acts as a marketing channel for the tiers above. So let me go through each of these tiers. The tier 1 is free and free to audit, and it's currently they have over 10,000 courses in this tier. The next tier is certificates. By certificates, I mean the single course certificate. But generally speaking, nowadays even the content is bundled into the certificate price. So in case of Coursera, if you pay for the specialized certificate, you get access to the graded assignments and homeworks. And this is a dialogue from FutureLearn. And the way FutureLearn does it, the way they do it is like, once you sign up for a course, you can access it for free until 2 weeks after the course ends. But if you want unlimited access, you need to upgrade. The third tier is micro-credentials. Some that you might have heard of is Udacity Nano Degrees, Coursera's specialization, edX's MicroMasters. And I think this is one of the most confusing tiers. Because of there are 2 reasons why. The first reason is each MOOC provider is trying to create a new name for their credential. And so even some MOOC providers have multiple different credentials. And this causes, for a new learner, this causes confusion. It's not easy to understand what does a nano degree mean or what's a MicroMaster mean. And it causes confusion even for employers. And the other source of confusion is the lack of consistency within a credential. As you can see in this, this is an analysis that we published on our blog just yesterday, where we analyzed all the micro-credentials out there. But you can see there's a big variation in price, in effort, as well as in the time required to complete, earn one of these credentials. And I think that creates further confusion because people are not sure what, or employers rather, I would say, when they're not sure what to expect when they see these credentials on the resume. I think there's a lot more work needed to be done to somehow standardize these credentials. And the fourth tier, and this is the landscape of MOOC-based micro-credentials. As you can see, some like Coursera and edX have multiple micro-credentials. And there are so far more than 450 micro-credentials that have been launched. The fourth tier is the credit tier. This is actually the least popular tier. One of the first major announcement in this tier was the Arizona State and edX Global Freshman Academy. What they did was they released a bunch of courses that were targeted at the first year of undergrad that you can take online and earn credit for them, thus thereby saving the time you spend on campus. But this really never took off. Another example is edX's MicroMasters. This is a micro-credential, which has credit attached to it. But to actually gain the credit, you need to apply to you need to get accepted into a master's program. Each MicroMaster is roughly around one semester of a master's program. And the goal is to save time and money on campus to the students. But unfortunately, it's only from the universities that create the micromasters that are accepting the micromasters as a credit. So it's not still, you can't just go to any universities and get credit for it. Early this year, we made a list of 370 courses which have college credit attached to it, and you can take for free. This college credit can be in the form of the ASU's Global Freshman Academy, or they might be part of micro-credentials like MicroMasters, or they might be part of online degrees. And that brings to my next tier, MOOC-based online degrees. Generally, the MOOC-based degrees work as following, like you pay as you go. So you only pay for the courses that you are taking. It doesn't follow a semester pattern, so they are made to fit more into the learner's schedule. And in many cases, they're built on top of free online courses and MOOC-based credentials. For example, the IMBA consists of 6 to 8 specializations. And this is, these are the numbers from the top 3 MOOC-based degrees out there. The Georgia Online Masters in Computer Science from Georgia Tech was the first one. And I think the number of students is now 7,500, around 7,500. They're graduating a lot of students. I think 7% of computer science students in America are being graduated from this online degree. But if you do some back-of-the-envelope calculations, you can see that the total revenue from just 3 of these degrees, potential revenue rather, is $80 million. Since it's pay-as-you-go, it doesn't mean they made $80 million, but if all these people finish to the end, then you'll make $80 million in revenue. And that is one of the reasons why MOOC providers are investing heavily into creating more online degrees. Currently, we have 25 to 30 degrees announced, and I expect in the next few months and years, we'll see a lot more activity in this space. I call it the second wave of MOOC hype. And the last tier is the corporate training. This is a very lucrative tier. And this is how Coursera's plans look like. They generally charge $400 per user per employee. And the advantage of this tier is corporates usually have a big training budget, and the MOOC providers just want a piece of it. Unlike the original MOOC space, where people were not used to paying for courses, in this case, corporates are used to paying for courses and are used to paying for e-learning and training. So the MOOC providers are trying to get a piece of that. And generally, the corporate training tier is very similar to the free courses that we can take, it's just that they get also on top of they get certification, and on top of that they also get like some private forums and some tracking and real-time analytics. The last 2 tiers, the online degree tiers and corporate training tiers, is something that all the MOOC providers are focusing heavily on, and we'll see more investment into those tiers in the future. Now let me go through a few examples of monetization. It's very difficult to find actual numbers, but there are some numbers that I found online. I'd like to share it with you. The first one is the IMBA, the University of Illinois and Coursera's MBA, completely online MBA degree. These numbers are a bit old. I think they're from end of 2017. But this shows the how you can. This shows the perfect use case for the 6 tiers of monetization. So from a learner's perspective, either you can take a course for free, and 1.2 million have, or you can take a bit more and earn a certificate, and 49,000 certificates have been awarded. And if you get a bunch of these certificates together, you get a specialization. And if you pay a bit more, you can get actual college credit, and if you pay a lot more, you get an online degree. So you can see how the same content is monetized at different prices, and for someone like a university and someone like Coursera, it creates a good, effective monetization model. Even on the certificate tier, if you just do some back of the envelope, it's at least a couple of $1 million in revenue, and the degree program is at least $20 million in revenue. So it creates an efficient monetization channel for both the university as well as for the MOOC provider. So Udacity is another is a MOOC. It's a provider that was started by Stanford professor Sebastian Thrun, and their approach is usually to partner with industries. Nowadays they don't partner with universities. They partner with industries to create content which is very employer friendly. They have something called, their credential is called Nano Degree. They have around 22, 23 Nano Degrees. And currently they have more than 50,000 students enrolled in Nano Degrees. Their most popular Nano Degree is called the Self-Driving Car Nano Degree. And overall they have graduated 27,000 students. And last year they made $70 million in revenue. In 2016, they made $29 million in revenue. So by focusing on a credential that's more, and content that is more employer and employee friendly, they have been able to monetize really, really well. The next example is not exactly a MOOC, but it shows a good way for universities and industry to partner. We also saw something similar when from Delft. They are also partnering with industry. So MIT partnered with Boeing and NASA to create a 4-course certificate program. I think it was partially funded by one of these companies. And the cost of each certificate was almost $2,500 US. And they had 5,000 students signed up for it. Half of those students came directly from Boeing. So the potential revenue is $12.5 million. And this platform was actually hosted on OpenEdX, a white labeled instance of OpenEdX. OpenEdX is the same technology that Thai MOOC is using to serve their courses. And the final example is from HarvardX. This data is also outdated. They used to publish a yearly report with these numbers, but they have stopped publishing at least the revenue numbers. But as of June 2015, Harvard was the biggest biggest university on the edX platform. They had 2 million students enrolled, and they had launched 60 plus courses. But in the first 2.5 to 3 years of operations, they only made $1 million in revenue. But if you compare that with the Johns Hopkins data science specialization, which made $1.75 million in just certificate revenue in probably 9 months, you can see why MOOC providers have taken the steps of reducing the free tier. If it's hard for Harvard to monetize, it's even harder for other smaller universities and brands to monetize. And through all these changes, I think MOOCs have become really big businesses. The top MOOC provider, they make around $250 million a year. But a lot of this revenue goes to the top 3 to 4 providers. So the money is not distributed, and it just goes to a few of them. And sort of that brings to my final point. I'm almost done. Yes, I'm almost done with my presentation. So if you have questions, you can line up on the mics. I think it's there and there. So this is. So who makes money? Providers, because they have hundreds of courses, they only need a few of them to actually make money. A few successful ones, and they are able to, like the data science specialization. We saw in William's presentation yesterday, there was a long tail. 2 or 3 courses had the majority of the users. Same for universities. If you have create a lot of courses, a few of them will become successful and make up for the cost of all the others. And when I wrote the steps of monetization, these were the 4 steps. But there's actually a step 0. And the step 0 is that you might have to invest a lot of money to get to a point where you have to monetize. When I talked about Coursera, even when they were not making money, they had over 100 people employed running all these experiments, burning a lot of cash. They are based in Silicon Valley, which is one of the most expensive places to live in. They had raised $200 million. They also had an early movers advantage. Same with TU Delft with their solar energy course. They had an early mover advantage. And if you try to launch a MOOC and try to be sustainable now, it might be it might be difficult. So that's why I think MOOCs need to have an on-campus benefit. So you can, and I think Delft is doing that too. And that way you can create a more sustainable way to launch these courses. And as a student who does these MOOCs, I also prefer that because it increases the credibility of the online education if the same material is used by universities to teach their own students. That's my presentation. Thank you.
To make it fair for the speaker, every speaker, just one question is needed, please.
Michael.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dawal, for very insightful information. May I ask one question in your own opinion? Do you think MOOC is sustainable? I'm listening from speakers. I found that a business model have to happen. MOOC could be a big friend to all of us, but for educational institutions, especially universities, MOOC could be a big threat. In your opinion, since you have done a lot of research on MOOC and business model, do you think this could be the end of many universities or not? Thank you.
I mean, I don't really think MOOCs as a replacement for universities. As we've seen, like the target audience is actually different. It's not the normal university students. It's students who are much older, people like me. So in fact, you can think of MOOCs as expanding market rather than thinking about it as taking market share away. And that's what I've heard from like the IMBA and other people is like, it's a different market. They're targeting newer students who can maybe with family, with kids who can't be on campus. So in that sense, I don't think if universities end, they will die for different reasons, not MOOCs. But at the same time, learning from home is hard, learning is difficult, so that creates other challenges. And if you go, like most people don't know about MOOCs, and I think marketing is as important as pedagogy. So if you're able to promote MOOCs and get to the right people and they know it exists and you can do it cheaply, then I think you can create a profitable business. But But it might be difficult. Just, if you tie it into the education system and create laws, that's a different, you can maybe make it sustainable. But just trying to become like a large provider like a Coursera where people just sign up with a credit card, I think it's tricky because in the last 3-4 years, there have been no major providers that have been launched. All the MOOC providers that you saw on the slides they have been launched for a few years. So that's my answer.
Okay, one more question from
Yes, thank you. All right, I have actually 2 questions. In the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see MOOCs in the less developed countries versus the more developed countries? And somewhat related, where do you see Class Central going in the next 3 to 5 years?
I really don't like to talk about future because you're usually wrong. I think in the more developed countries, it will be more micro-credentials. I think prices are going up. So you wouldn't see if MOOC providers, if they go into less developed countries, they would try to go through the corporate training. They would rather go to the companies than go directly to the users because I don't think most users can afford to pay the price they are asking for. And we have seen enough where companies like edX, Coursera, Udacity trying to target, like I've seen it in India, they're trying to target the IT in companies to pay for these programs. But I see in the less developed countries, the government plays a bigger role. I heard about Malaysia, even Thailand, and even India, where they are trying to create laws and legislation where integrate integrate MOOCs into the education system. I think so. I feel like they have more potential there. In developed countries, and at least in US, it's all happening on its own. So it becomes difficult to become part of the actual education system, and that's why they want to target more professional learners or more corporations, online degrees. So they're all trying to focus on things that are more expensive. And for Class Central, we hopefully, I don't know, we just keep track of the MOOC space, and we try to build a better ecosystem around MOOCs and make people understand what they are. It's difficult for me to even now to tell what does the MOOC mean. So, and it's even difficult we want to make sense of all these micro credentials, all the new trends, and we want to probably create a vocabulary that everybody understands and easier to explain instead of micro masters, nano degrees, and all these are complicated terms and every learner can't understand what each one is. We want to create some sort of vocabulary around how do you communicate the level of the course, how do you communicate how much effort is required, trying to standardize this across all online education resources, not just MOOCs, and I think that's something we want to try in the next few years. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have more interest, Dr. Chow will have the interactive workshop in room 213 at 1 to 2:30 p.m. So don't miss his interactive workshop. Our chairperson chaired by Dr. Warasuang, Luang Jinda, or Michael here. So we will take a very short break, and sorry for the rush. You are supposed to resume to your seat at 10:50. 10:50. Thank you for your kind cooperation.
Is it off?
Testing. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to the second half of the second day and also the last day of the conference. I have one announcement to make for our today's luncheon. Lunch will be served in room 203 and 223. So just 2 rooms. Okay. So what's coming up next is the presentation by our third keynote speaker. He is an assistant professor at the Journalism and Media Studies Center, the University of Hong Kong. He specializes in news literacy education and misinformation ecosystem research in Asia. He founded the Asia Pacific Digital Citizen Network in 2013, through which he has been leading an international collaboration among media educators and journalists in Asia to develop pedagogical methods and teaching materials in news literacy that take into account the cultural, media landscapes, and political climates in different countries. He is the creator of the chief producer of 2 massive open online courses in this field. As of April 2018, the 2 public open online courses had tens of thousands of registered users and more than 10,000 of active learners from over 140 countries. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Masato Kajimoto.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, good. Well, thank you very much for inviting me to such a great conference. I hope that my presentation also contributes to the body of knowledge we've been accumulating since yesterday. And before I start, I also have to tell you that my presentation is mostly for those professors and instructional designers and cameramen and video editors who are actually producing MOOC content. So to speak, my target audience today is those frontline soldiers who are creating content for those MOOC platforms. My name is Masato Kajimoto. I'm from the University of Hong Kong, and my topic today, as you can see on the screen, is lesson learned pedagogical insights and media production techniques gained from making MOOCs. Now, I have been involved in MOOC production since 2014. The very first MOOC we launched was in 2015, January, and we call it Making Sense of News. At the time, I had another colleague, Anne Kruger, who was helping me to develop the course, and I also had 2 technical staff who helped me to produce this course. So 4 of us created this course. It was a session-based course, 6-week course. We launched it in 2015, and we also ran it again in 2016. In 2016, we decided to try Coursera because that seems to be a bigger platform than edX. So we moved on Coursera in 2017, and for this project, I actually partnered with Stony Brook University. They have a Center for News Literacy. That's my specialized area, news literacy education. And Stony Brook University is part of State University of New York. And I am also an affiliate professor at the Stony Brook University. So it was natural for me to reach out to them and ask if they're interested in collaborating in developing MOOCs for Coursera. And luckily for me, SUNY was also already a partner university with Coursera, so it was relatively hassle-less to do a joint MOOC. So this course, Coursera course, was actually offered jointly by 2 universities. One is our university, and the other is Stony Brook University. And as you can see, my team has expanded. Me and Anne Kruger are still there, but we also had help from 5 other people from Stony Brook side. We gave a similar title, Making Sense of the News, News Literacy Lessons for Digital Citizens. And as you can see, we got 4.8 stars out of 5 in reviews, if that means anything. But anyway, just to give you an idea, here is a promo video that we created in 2014 to promote our MOOC. And I'm going to talk a lot about video styles today. And this first attempt is very old-fashioned because both Anne and I used to work for CNN International as a journalist. And all we knew was a broadcast-style, professional-looking videos. And that's all we knew. And that's what we did for this promotional video. We reused this video again in 2015 and 16. So the years you see might not say 2014, but it's the same video that we created 4 years ago. So just to give you an idea what the course was about.
Let's first define journalism. Why do we need news organization in our society?
As a news consumer, we don't know the information we receive from social media is true or not.
The big organizations, they have this full process of verification.
Many of us no longer need to look for news to stay up to date. News instead follows us everywhere. News is at our fingertips all the time. Our patterns of media consumption have transformed dramatically in the last 10 years, and we are facing new challenges. For instance, when we see a piece of news about a street protest on social media, we often react immediately by liking, retweeting or commenting without knowing if the information is actually authentic. Even though, of course, you don't want your friends to take to the streets based on the false claims that you shared. We often make decisions based on what we learn from journalists, which country to go to for our next vacation, how to follow a healthy lifestyle, who to vote for in an election. We are living in a world where your personal video can trigger national and international conversations about social issues such as women's rights and cyberbullying. This online course is about becoming a smart news audience in the age of social media. We apply critical thinking skills, make use of online tools, and discuss what today's journalism is all about in order to tell reliable information from the problematic.
Do you think you're a smart news consumer?
I would like to say yes, but I don't think so.
So as you can see, the course is about news literacy. Our idea is to educate future news consumers to be smarter when they encounter questionable information in news reports, and which happens all the time, as you know, especially after 2016 presidential elections in the Philippines and also in the US. We are keenly aware of what misinformation could do to our society. So back in 2014, we are already thinking about how do we teach news literacy to the public, not just students we have on campus, but more broader audience. So that's the reason why we created this course, and we've been running it ever since. So 2015, 16, 17, now 2018. My Coursera course that I showed before this video, it's still ongoing, so you can sign up anytime. It's self-paced course, and every 4 weeks, new session opens. And we still have probably around 8,000 active learners as we speak. Number goes up and down because some students finish the 6-week course and they leave. They are no longer active. So I'm going to talk a little bit about statistics and analytics as well later. Let me skip to... Okay, I'll just skip the video. All right, so I think after running 2 MOOCs for 3.5 years, we could confidently say it's received relatively well, more than what we expected. So for example, this comment, hands down, one of the most successful MOOCs on journalism and news media literacy education, said by me. Right. Obviously, right? I should feel this way. No, but I mean, joking aside, these are some of the comments that we got on Twitter. We encourage students to comment on our course content and also have lively discussions on Twitter. And we thought social media is a better place to communicate than edX and Coursera. I mean, students can also post questions, but that sounds a bit more academic, and Twitter seems to be a bit more free. So I cherry-picked some of the comments, that are very positive about our courses. Now, I also got this comment. This is not from me. Right. This one actually came from editor-in-chief from Harvard Business Review. So we were doing something right, I believe. On top of that, Arizona State University, the university has been mentioned a few times yesterday and also today. They have this school called Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. They have an initiative or project called News Collab. So they try to identify best journalistic practices, best journalism educators, and best of things in our field. And News Collab also gave us the status best practice in education in news literacy and journalism. So there are certain recognitions that we got by offering this. So those of you who are thinking about developing MOOCs, it does give you wider exposure as an academic. I mean, before I did MOOC, I was relatively unknown professor from small place in Asia. But after doing this MOOC, it seems like that many people can recognize my name because we are getting some publicities through these courses that we offered. If you are in the US, Facebook has been having lots of fake news issues and they wanted to do something about it. So in 2017, they decided to sort of have news literacy component to their service, right? So again, this is only available in the US, but if you use Facebook there, and if you use this, there are lots of different things they are trying, flagging false content or linking to some news literacy education materials from the Facebook. So if you look at one of those help pages to tell users where to get educated in news literacy, we are one of the partners that Facebook identified. So again, we didn't do too bad. But if someone asks me, have you really achieved what you wanted to achieve in the first place when you were thinking about producing MOOCs in 2014, what you wanted to do, and have you actually done it after 3.5 years? My answer would be this. I don't know really how to make those faces, but that's my reaction. I haven't really done what I wanted to do, and that's the main topic today I want to talk about. So this is a big thing, right? Previously, we talked about how Coursera changed its strategy from open education for everybody to, how can we make more money type of style, model. And I felt exactly the same way. When I first heard about MOOC, this is what I had in mind. We wanted to attract upper secondary school students, or if you're in the US system, senior high school students, who do not have any interest in news in the first place. Somebody who has no access or not thinking about university education, even though they're in high school or junior high. Right? In other words, we wanted to reach out to those people who are very unlikely that they will come to my university. Right? University level education, I do it every day on campus. I have my students and I interact with them, and I teach them and also teach me many things. That's fine. But for the MOOC, if we are making an extra effort to put our course on the internet for the public to take and consume, we wanted to think bigger. So we decided, okay, we want to target age group between 15 and 19, right? So we sort of rejigged our university curriculum. It's a 14-week full semester course, our news literacy curriculum, but we shortened it into 6 weeks, and we got rid of many, media theories and other concepts so that it's more digestible for younger learners. So that's what we did. But again, this was already mentioned yesterday. On those two platforms, edX and Coursera, you can only attract people who are already very highly educated. So on edX, many of the learners we had bachelor's degree already. Many had master's degree. Some even had PhD. Right? Most students finished high school already. Yeah? If you look at age group, most of them are about 25 years old. And 30% of them are actually more than 35 years old. So we weren't really reaching to the target audience we had in mind in the first place. Coursera is a bit harder to track down because they introduced this certificate system. We can only track down paying learners, and most of our active learners are not paying for the course. They sign up for the course, they go through the instructional videos, they do in-video quizzes, but they are not allowed to take assignments, for example, because they're not paying. And we don't really know, if they finish the course or not, because there's no indicator for us to take a look. So we relied on entrance survey, and this is from the first week. And that's why I didn't put the percentages there. I mean, sample size is only 180 something, so it's not really representative of what we have. But again, you can see the same trend. Many of our learners are very highly educated, and many of them tend to be very mature. We have a sizable group of people who are in their 60s and 70s. In other words, those retired professionals or academics or highly educated who, wanted to learn a little bit about news literacy. So here is the dilemma we had. What we wanted to do with our MOOC is to tell, I don't know what the good analogy is maybe swimming, right? So we wanted to attract people who do not know how to swim. So we wanted to tell them, this is how you swim. We wanted to teach how you swim. So we opened a swimming school. What happened was, instead of those people who cannot swim will come to us, those people who already know how to, swim in freestyle, they just wanted to know how to do breaststroke or backstroke, right? So thank you, yeah. Right, so of course, if you already know how to swim, learning other techniques is much easier, right? That's why we got the good reviews, because they were already halfway there. We just nudged them a little bit with our course content, and that wasn't really difficult. What we wanted to do, on the other hand, is to teach how fun it is to learn how to swim, right? Swimming can be an improvement that will, enrich your life. That was the message we wanted to give. So, some of the techniques we used to attract those people these. So let me show you some. So first video on the left top, obviously it's the very traditional way of doing MOOC, right? Me in front of camera, just speaking about some of the concepts that we're going to go through. In this particular video, I'm talking about press releases and how it's written by PR professionals and how journalists treat those press releases into their news reporting, how that can be problematic for the news audience. So that's the concept. And I just talk and talk and talk. And if you have taken MOOCs, most MOOCs take this style. Professor just talking, a talking head, right, for 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And there are some links and readings on the website, but that's pretty much what you have. So we wanted to try something different. And the next video, top on the right, shows two students that we have on campus, and we gave the same assignment that we assign on MOOC to our students. and have them discuss how they did the assignments, and we filmed them and put it on the MOOC. So that our idea was that, well, let our students do the assignment and sort of let them discuss, and that discussion can be an educational moment for online course learners, because obviously we can't really see how students communicate with each other. We have tens of thousands of learners, and the forum page is massive. You get hundreds of comments a day, so it's impossible for us to monitor those. So that's our attempt. This video is around 1 minute, so I'm going to play a bit.
So Audrey, I think for the first item, we both agree that it's important, probably because it concerns everyone's money, it concerns everyone's finance. But I think it's quite interesting because we all can be investors. That means everyone can relate to this piece of news, so I think it's interesting to everyone in society. That's why I put it quite high up in the interest scale.
Right. I think I put it sort of a little lower because I think that ordinary people, more often than not, if they're readers, they would look at a piece of news that is about, bureaucracy and it's about banking, and they'd sort of write it off as boring, and they probably wouldn't find it as interesting. I agree that it's very important, just like you, but I just think it's quite difficult for journalists to make it seem interesting, and so for consumers, it usually wouldn't seem interesting.
So we use this as sort of like a prompt to tell the online learners, so these are the kind of things our students are discussing with this particular assignment. Now, what do you guys think? So that's one of the techniques that we tried in our MOOC. Next video, key lessons. That one is another thing that we tried. I talked to lots of instructional designers and professors who have done MOOCs before we launched ours. And they all told me that, well, your video has to be less than 6 minutes. It has to be really short, right? And otherwise people don't watch the entire thing. So I did that. But still, sometimes it's really hard to talk about a high-level concept in 6 minutes. So what you end up doing is that instead of doing 20-minute video, you just produce 4 different 5-minute videos. And then students have to continuously watch that anyway. And I thought, since we're doing that, probably we will also make a 1-minute summary. So every week we had 2 big concepts that students had to go through. For each concept, we created 1-minute summary video. If you didn't have time to go through these 5 videos, you can just watch this 1-minute video. And that sort of summarizes what this particular concept is about. So this key lesson video is around 45 seconds. I think my colleague Ann Kruger talks about editorial decisions. So I'll play back.
So what are the key take-home messages on our topic, editorial decisions? Well, each one of us, including someone working as a professional journalist, has a different set of values. Our editorial judgment can be very different. News organisations decide what to present to the audience based on their judgment, which includes how important an issue is to the public. Editors know their target audience, what's trending and what's likely to get the audience's attention. So smart news consumers should pay attention to the news items that others deem important and interesting as well.
So we had that kind of really short, bite-sized lesson summary for each concept. The last video, which has no sound, we also tried to have another student go through forum pages and ask her to sort of solicit frequently asked questions and some of the discussion points that many learners are struggling to understand. So she picked up those questions and some of the points from our forum, and in this case, sitting with Ann Kruger, she sort of, did a Q&A with the professor, and I did this too. So in other words, we couldn't directly communicate with the online learners. There were just too many of them. But we had student helpers to go through their discussion forum and then pick up some of the issues. And then those issues are discussed in studio with me and my colleague. And we filmed ourselves and put that video on our course as well. Right? So let's say, for example, in week 2, there's certain concepts. And week 4, we put that video up. So, hey, by the way, do you remember what we discussed in week 2? And here are some of the questions we got in the discussion forum, and here's what we think. So that's the technique we tried. Now, the strange thing is that this very old-fashioned video that me just talking, if you look at the exit survey, in other words, those learners who finished our courses, we asked them what was most effective, what did you like most about our course, and what did you least like about the course. Surprisingly, that boring talking head lecture video was rated the highest. They thought it's really they learned a lot. Student discussion was okay. Some students liked it, but many thought it was kind of, not really helping. 1-minute key lesson videos. We also put that on Twitter as well because it's 1 minute, right? Why not? The viewership was really low. So those online learners were not even clicking. If you look at the backend analytics, we realized that the summary videos, we thought it's a fantastic idea, but students are not really clicking because, for some reason, they watched the talking head and that was enough for them, I guess. Q&A with the professors, having student representative in the studio, same. It was very mediocre ratings among the learners who finished it. So some of the things that we thought helpful wasn't really deemed helpful by learners. That's something that we learned hard way. And it was very confusing for us because, okay, okay, let me go back. I also wanted to show this, before we talk about that. So not only those techniques to engage with the students, we also, our video, if you go through them, we have some fancy animations, colorful graphics. On the left top, we maybe talk about how journalists gather evidence, and some are direct, some are indirect, and whatnot. So we have fancy animations and everything. We also have sound effect, funny sound effect. On the bottom right side, you have another colleague of mine from Stony Brook, Stephen Reiner. He used to be a producer for a news show called 60 Minutes in CBS in the US. So we had him as a host for many of our lessons, and just to show you how we use sound effect.
This is because the news we all yearn to consume and share serves 3 primal needs. News alerts us. News diverts us. And news connects us.
So we tried all these to, make it a bit more fun and enjoyable to run. And the confusing thing is, to jump here. Other educators loved it. So when we created a course, we told other journalism educators around the world, hey, we created this course. Please take a look and what you think. They loved it, right? We have lots of librarians taking our courses because they teach information literacy in many countries, and they thought our material was very useful for their work. So we got lots of feedbacks from librarians. They loved it. I used some of the videos on my own campus teaching as well. I did blended mode. I did flip the course. So we tried different ways to teach. My students loved it, especially because it's much easier for them to review what we discuss in class. Because I put all the videos on the Moodle. That's a closed online learning system that we use at our university. So students can go through the videos and then instead of rereading the textbook, they could just watch the video to review what we discussed. So students loved it. And also we told many of our ex-colleagues, journalists, to take a look, and they also liked it. I mean, journalists are a very cynical bunch. They don't say they loved anything, right? I mean, journalists are kind of people that, if your mother said, I love you, son, okay, let me dig into that. That's the kind of attitude journalists have, but many journalists liked it. So anyway, my point here is that we were getting lots of positive reviews by our colleagues, other professors, journalists, librarians, But if you look at learners, they have completely different view about what we did, right? All those efforts for animations and student engagement didn't seem to really strike the chord. Instead, monotonous talking head was valued highly, right? So in the end, the same dilemma. This but is really big, right? People loved it, but we are not reaching to the target audience we wanted to reach, right? So that was the major problem we are having. So I think my message here, at least from my experience, is that you really have to know your target audience. If you're producing MOOC to educate other university students, probably our approach is a recommended way to do this, right? But if you are thinking about public education from different perspective, probably what we are doing wasn't good. So starting from this fall, either September, October, we are now reimagining what the MOOC should be like, what public education should be like. And we decided, okay, let's ditch Coursera, let's ditch edX. Yeah, that's not what we wanted to do. We decided to go where people go. In other words, our target audience live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, not so much on Medium, but Medium is a place where you can actually have real long text. So we are considering using Medium as well. So these are the places where we go. We called a new project called Strapline. That's the name of the YouTube channel. It already exists, but again, we don't really launch this project until September, October. So it's the world's premiere, if you will, of this new project. We call it News Literacy for the Rest of Us. In other words, we clearly wanted to target those who we couldn't attract before. And we completely changed our approach with the Strapline. This video I will show you next is a teaser. So that has no educational content. It's just to tease what's coming in this project. It's around, well, less than 2 minutes, I think. So let's have a look.
I hope Roy doesn't get mad at me for using my sleeve. Alright, that's a little better. But basically I gotta get to work.
Hey, what's up?
Did you guys get the news from Masato?
What message?
Well, today is June 21st. He wants the first batch of videos by July 10th, so...
What?
Crap.
That's a bit tight.
That is pretty tight.
So, we've been doing this MOOC style video for quite a while, and it's okay, but I'm gonna try to do something a little bit different, something that we don't normally do. But the problem we have now is that our fearless leader, Masato Kajimoto, he's not here with us to give us direction.
Where in the world is
Masato Kajimoto? I think he's in Italy, Vietnam, Singapore? I don't know where he's at, but we're gonna try this on our own, try to do something a little different, and hopefully it's gonna look okay. Lunch. Good. So you might be wondering, who am I? Well, my name is AJ Limanao, and how did I get this job of talking to you guys about news literacy? Well, it seems like I just volunteered. Basically the reason being, I want to learn more about news literacy, and at the end of the day, I don't want to look like a chump falling for fake news. So that's why I'm here, and hopefully you guys will learn with me about what is fake news and also about news literacy in general. Check out my new pet. Look what I found!
Too windy and too hot, I can't
is the definition of fake news? It's like an educational vlog. This is an educational vlog.
So, right, I don't know how you feel, but if you feel like, is that really MOOC? Is that educational? Probably you're not my target audience. For this, what we did was we decided, okay, we gotta know what they like. So we set aside 3 days. In front of computer, we watched popular YouTube videos for 3 consecutive days. 6 hours every day for 3 days watching YouTube videos that had millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers. And it was a torture for me. I couldn't get it. Right? Some of the video, just 2 dudes playing computer games and talking absolute nonsense for 1 hour and a half. It's got 6 million views, 1 million subscribers, right? Another teenage girl who is apparently very good at teaching how to wear, different brands, cosmetics. That's fine, right? But her video doesn't just do that. She talks a lot about her life, on and on and on. Again, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. The actual cosmetics tip is like 5 minutes. But then that video gets 7 million views, 8 million views. Whereas our educational content, it's, our effort, we only get probably 600 views on YouTube, probably 25 likes. It's not even a comparison, right? So we decided, okay, we don't care what our colleagues think, right? We don't care what other journalists think. We try this approach and put it on YouTube and other social media platforms and see what happens. So next video is the very first video that we talk about fake news. And again, this isn't really a deep university level instruction. It's just a YouTube video blog that talks about that topic. Let's take a look. This is around 3 minutes and a half.
Welcome to this episode of, would you call this fake news? For this challenge, you just have to do a couple things. Number 1, you gotta watch this video clip. And number 2, you gotta tell me if the news stories mentioned in this clip is fake news. Alright, cool. Roy, roll the clip. Just 5 minutes ago, my friend Chan, he's right over there, but 5 minutes ago, my friend Chan sent me a message that reads, dude, stop eating Oreos. They are as addictive as cocaine. It's scientifically proven. You know what? I'm going to check it up on the Google search. Well, we got one by Huffington Post, The Atlantic, Forbes. So, yeah, it looks like some news outlets did write about it. The links do work, so it doesn't seem fake. You know what? I have a friend named Roy. He has a kid who likes eating Oreo cookies. I'm going to share this to him just so that he knows what's going on. Go. All right. Oh, wait. Roy just sent a message. It's almost like he copied and pasted that one. And it says, hey, AJ, you're wrong. This is fake news. Have you actually read the stuff? This article is basically talking about a small-scale lab experiment on rats, not humans. So, how did it go? Was it too hard? What did you have to say? Well, if you said it was fake, well, that's a bit of an issue because the news articles, the news stories, the information in them was factual. And if you said it was not fake, well, that's also an issue because the headlines were a bit misleading. Confused? I am. Well, let's check out what Masato had to say. He says, hey, AJ, who cares? They're both correct and incorrect. What does that mean? Huh? Masato! What the hell, man? This is Ladies Market, and what you'll notice here is that there's lots of goods. It's a big tourist area, and a lot of stuff they sell is, I mean, I guess I'd call it fake, which is kind of a interesting forced analogy of sorts, but kind of ties into our fake news. It's kind of a cool background, right? Anyways, one thing you might be wondering is, what is the definition of fake news? Because it is confusing. I mean, for one thing, it's hard to discern, and another, people these days are calling information and news that they don't like as fake news. But Masato says that what's important is not knowing what the definition of fake news is, but knowing when to recognize problematic information when we see it, of which there are lots of different types. Of which there are a lot of different types. Of which there are a lot of different types. One last time, I just want one good one. The next episode's gonna change your life.
So what we are trying to do is to sort of hook the audience, and if they want to know more about the topic, we provide places where they can go. So these videos that we put on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot also comes with a link, and that link goes to our website. This text will also be replicated on Medium as well, because that seems to be where people go for, long-form journalism and also longer text. So if you go to our website and if you click the same episode title, would you call this fake news, and which I can do that now, then we have a little bit more explanation in text. So we give a bit more context to the video. You don't have to read this, but if you're interested, you can learn more about this topic. And we have that instruction for the students, and we also created for teachers section. So if you are high school teachers, junior high teachers who are thinking about using a material, this is what you can do. So for the teachers section, I get a bit more pedantic, so to speak, and then provide some links to academic papers and the research articles, or more easier readings for the students, so that teachers can give to the students if they want to use readings. So here, one suggested activity is to create a table on their own. So teachers have to have students to create a chart and talk about different styles of misinformation and whatnot. So that's the approach we're going to try. Again, we're going to be starting this in September, October. We don't know if it's going to work, but that's what we will try. That's my team. It's AJ, me, Roy, and Chen. You've all seen them on the video. So another thing we are trying to do is to build our characters. It's a YouTube channel, and we are learning a lot from those like TV dramas and other comedy programs rather than educational content to mimic what they do. Don't know if it works or not. Right, and I think before I finish here, this is one thing I want to emphasize. So we are no longer doing structural sequence. The next episode is going to be on clickbait. So we sort of talk a little bit about Oreo cookie headlines as well and how that can be problematic. But the following episode is about Instagram and photojournalism, news pictures, so it's a completely different topic. And the following episode, we go to Singapore, because three of us, AJ, me, and Roy, will attend another workshop or conference in Singapore, so we're going to film there and then talk about press freedom in Asia. So each episode, we talk completely different topic, and we are okay with that. Because, again, we are no longer structuring our course. We just keep doing this. So we might revisit the same topic 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road, and then create a new video. So that's how we approach. And also we are talking about other like-minded educators in Asia to localize this. And when I say localize, we are not talking about translation. We are not talking about giving subtitles or voiceover. We want to create everything completely from scratch. So if you are interested, I'm here, and we can talk after the speech. But at the moment, we got initial kickstart funding from Google to launch this strapline. And if this goes well, we are expecting to get a bit more funding from other sources to localize in Asia Pacific. And at the moment, we are working with NGOs in Myanmar, and they're talking to national TV station to do something like this. Again, concept remains the same. We're going to be their sort of guide, but our local partner has to create everything from scratch with local talent, local videographer, and obviously in local languages, because sometimes talking about news is very cultural, and political climate in each country is very different. So we can't possibly just translate what we do in English into different languages. So, all right, that's pretty much it. My email address is in here, so if you want to contact me, please feel free to email me. Thank you very much.
So we apply the same rule. One question, please, because we are 15 minutes behind the schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, professors. First of all, I would like to say that I really appreciate for your valuable experience. And what I found is the creativity, the way that you present your video, which is the main media that you try to deliver. The only questions that I would like to consult with you is about what kind of the technology that can improve this main media to, to tailor the best to fit our target audience. What kind of the technologies that in the future that you might apply?
Okay. Again, this may sound very counterintuitive, but what we learn from binge watching YouTube videos is that technology doesn't really matter. Lots of popular YouTube videos are produced very poorly from our standard. There are lots of jump cuts, sound quality is low, and some kids filming himself and the mom suddenly come in and he doesn't even edit that out. So I don't think it's the technology, it's the content. And it's also, I think, for me, YouTube video is all about like character development. In other words, you feel like you know this person, therefore you watch their video. And I think that kind of charisma is necessary for you to be successful. That's why I asked AJ to do this. I cannot do that in front of a camera, but AJ can pull it off. So I asked him, he's a good friend of mine, hey AJ, can you do this, I will teach you the concept, but you have to internalize it and somehow make it funny. And he did an excellent job. So I think not the technology, but who. Who's going to be in front of camera. That's super important in my opinion, if that answers your question. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Our next and the last keynote speaker this morning, he's quite familiar to us because he has been involved with the conference for the past few years. He is the Deputy Director of Thailand Cyber University project under the Office of Higher Education Commission, Ministry of Education, Thailand, and he is also Vice Dean in Educational Innovation Affairs, Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science, Chulalongkorn University. He's got his PhD in Educational Communications and Technology with the background of Master of Science in Computer Science. He's involved in many TCU projects, and he was also one of the teaching team who taught the first MOOCs in Thailand, e-learning professional certificate program. The first MOOC style course opened on August 2010. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, may I present Dr. Anuchai Thira Rungchai Sri.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to become here to present briefly the update of Thai MOOC by Thailand Cyber University, and also a great pleasure because this is the last presenter at the lunchtime. You hear a lot of content or knowledge, and maybe you are very tired and very hungry also. So I promise to present very short and brief about the update of Thai MOOC. Okay, let's start from the topic that I would like to present. I will present in 4 short topics. First, please allow me to review the background or history of the Thai MOOC, and then the outcome of the first phase of Thai MOOC. And then the national policy, 20-year, we call the 20-year national strategy of Thailand. Very new and very update, very interesting. And then the update, the new vision of the Thai MOOC. Okay, many of you may know that from 2015, our government has launched a new policy called Thailand Digital Economy. At that policy, they aiming to create the digital society, digital economy platform framework that will raise the nation to have a more income nation. And one of the pillars is the digital society. And one of the strategy is to encourage, to support the lifelong learning of all people in Thailand. Back to the Thailand Cyber University project. Under the Office of Higher Education Commission, Ministry of Education, the project was founded in 2005. We did a lot of projects on online education, starting from the Open Courseware portal. In 2005, we opened the portal for university to share their open courseware, and success very much, and a lot of people, faculty member and students utilize our portal. And then we start to open e-learning professional certificate to educate, to training the faculty member, the teacher who want to do the online education. This is a MOOC style certificate program that we launched. At that time, we did not know that this is a MOOC style course before. Then we launched a project called TCU Globe Project that interconnect all open courseware portal in Thailand for some university portal and to the international many regions, and very successful. And now we plan to launch the MOOC project. But at the same time that the government run the digital economy policy, so we combine with, partner with the 3 ministry, 3 organizations. We submit a proposal to establish the Thai MOOC. You can see that 3 major ministry: Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Digital Economy and Society. At that time, the name is the Ministry of ICT, but now become Ministry of Digital Economy and Society. Our vision is to establish Thai MOOC as a lifelong learning space for all Thai. This is our imaginary vision, and imagine that if we have a portal of a MOOC course that can support every person from children until their retirement age. So it will support the lifelong learning of all people. We have to create the MOOC course portal. We have to create the learning portfolio system, and also the very important is the credit bank system that collect the credit that the learner have passed. we separate duty among ministry. Ministry of Digital Economy take care of the infrastructure, the computer, the technology things. Ministry of Science and Technology, BITEC, take care of the software and platform, customize software, modify and create new software. And then for TCU, under the Office of Higher Education, we develop the content with the support of the university. Outcome of the first phase, we got three major important outcomes. The first is we got the Thai MOOC platform that provide the Thai MOOC course to all learners. We adopt and customize from Open edX software. And then we got the standard and guideline for MOOC course development. This is the foundation. This is the guideline that we use for anyone who want to develop the MOOC course and to open and deliver via the Thai MOOC platform. And at last, we have 195 MOOC courses developed from the university throughout the Thailand. This is our system, our platform. You can see from the bottom side, this is the MOOC LMS that we adopt from edX. And then we also integrating to the testing and credit bank that we looking forward that the learner from the MOOC course can go to testing in the test center. And then if they pass, the record of success will record in the test bank. So it's a strategy to encourage them to go further higher education. The learning journey similar like this. The students who learn as their own interest, they stop after pass the course and get the certificate. But the one that who want to collect their credit, learning credit, they have to go to the testing center. And then if they pass, their record will keep collect in the credit bank. And if the home university of the student allow, the credit will transfer to the home university. And if they collect as many credit, they can transfer to certificate or degree. Okay. And in the underlying, you can see that there are many things that we have to done. For example, the infrastructure, the quality assurance system, the guideline, the administration system, and also the supporting system. This is a MOOC course, MOOC website. This is the standard and guideline. We developed the guideline with the support from the faculty member, the researcher from university. The guideline have the process along the MOOC course development. So emphasize on the quality in each step of the process. We got 195 MOOC courses from the 7 regional university networks. Totally we have 9, but at first phase, 7 university network participate in and join us. The result come out as the statistic from the July 18, 195 MOOC courses open, 70,000 learners registered, and 121,000 course registration time. And the most popular is the basic photography course, 4,500 learners. Yeah. And the second one is psychology in daily life. This is the demographic of the age of the learner. If you think back at the yesterday morning, Professor William from the two you can see that the pattern of the distribution may be similar, but the age of the learner, the median age of learner in Thailand may be in the very popular, very famous course is 31, and you can see that the student in the university is only 1/3, 31%, and we have learner that have more than 41 years old, 17%. This similar pattern to other courses. So from this we learned that maybe now we are ready for online education, and maybe not only the younger, the university ages, but also all people from all age. Maybe the adult learner or the retirement also can learn from this way of education. This is the map. This map shows the location of the learner. You can see that the yellow dot spread throughout Thailand. This is the education of the learner. We have after bachelor and before bachelor degree. Okay, the impact of the first phase come out that in Thailand, from our observation, MOOC get into the mainstream of open education. At least to university level, MOOCs platform was launched from the top 2 university. Chulalongkorn University launched Chula MOOC, and Mahidol University have MUX, and at least maybe more will come in the near future. And the last number of university instructors show interested in in developing MOOC course and providing education via MOOC course. We can see that the application form that submit to get fund from the Thai MOOC second phase, we have increased 100% from the first phase. So many faculty members interested in. And also there are many national institutes have introduced and have strategy to use MOOC as one of their strategy to do staff capacity development. For example, the Office of Civil Service Commission take care of the education of the all Thai civil service, and also Thai Professional Qualification Institute that take care of capacity building for the skilled worker, skilled people, and also the Digital Economy Promotion Agency, and many public organizations interesting in. Now, MOOC has been widely accepted as an education system for lifelong learning. We can see that at the national level, the 20 years National Development Strategy that newly launched mentioned about using MOOC as a way to provide lifelong education. This is the 20-year national strategy. They have 6 key strategies. The key strategy number 3 is development and empowerment of human capital. There are many sections and mention about the lifelong education, mention about the transformation of learning, and also MOOC is one of the keywords that was mentioned in the national policy. So this come out the situation after the first phase. Everyone get into the MOOC, utilize MOOCs, not only the university but also the public organization all involved or participate in the MOOC. How can we take this good opportunity to benefit the future of Thai education? Back to this picture from the learner side. What is the thing that motivates them? They want to get knowledge. They want to advance in their career. They want to get more higher degree. This is the motivation. But also, they need something not complex, not sophisticated. They need one-stop platform or unified platform. They just learn to use this platform only once and they can learn everything. They want their portfolio of learning to be consolidated into one portfolio, not separate into different and many platforms. They want to collective their learning credit, and then they can use their learning credit into everything that they want to further their education or to advance their career, something like this. Back to the provider, the MOOC course provider. There are many universities that want to provide MOOC course, and also they have their own target, their own learner that they want to provide to them. But they also many MOOC course provider, TPQI, OCSC, the civil service, all they have their own target, but their target are overlap, or maybe many one of us has more than one hat. Sometimes we are civil service, sometimes we are engineer, something like this. So it is a good way that we can combine all courses from all providers into one place and provide it simple way to the learner, and all provider can utilize, can provide the course to all people in all ages as their target. So benefit both the provider and benefit both the learner. So as a government organization that initiative the Thai MOOC, so we have to we have to focus more on the developing of the platform. So if we have a national MOOC platform that all major MOOC provider want to provide the MOOC course via this platform, you can see that the benefit will benefit to all learner and all provider. The investment will be more efficient. The quality of education will be improved if we can consolidate, coordinate. We can do a research. We can combine our research together and make a good guideline for MOOC course development. The learner will get a good consolidation of the learning portfolio, and with the strong and reliable of the infrastructure and also the security system, we can provide a trust and confident learning outcome, learning result from the learner. So at the first phase of Thai MOOC, we emphasize on establish the system, try to provide the MOOC courses, support the university. We as the project, we did not create the MOOC courses by ourselves, but with the support from the university network. Together we can build a lot of MOOC courses. But in the second phase now, MOOC will become the mainstream, so we have to focus more on building the strong, reliable and fast infrastructure. We have to focus more on the quality assurance system and develop a good guideline to encourage, to facilitate all faculty or institutions that want to create and provide the MOOC course. We have to create a security and very efficiency credit bank system that will be the central recording of the credit, and then will be shared among all institutions that would like to utilize the learning credit of the learner. So we have to set the standard, and then we can be the training supporting service and continually research to improve the quality and do a knowledge management as a yearly conference as this one. And also as a central body, maybe we can facilitate the coordination with other international MOOC or national MOOC and MOOC provider. So maybe the central portion. Okay, that the thing I would like to update everyone, and that's the time for lunch also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Anuchai Thira Riangchaisi, for a very succinct and informative presentation. Probably one question is allowed to do so if you have, please.
Everyone are hungry.
So everyone just get hungry, yeah? Okay, so I have a few announcements to make. The luncheon will be served in room 203 and 223. And also don't forget to fill up the application by scanning the QR code at the back of your name tag. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all keynote speakers, invited speakers, and most importantly, the interested participants who have shown up. And I hope to see you again at the 10th TCU International e-learning conference 2019. Thank you so very much. ขอบคุณครับ